Well, I've been really considering the wider benefits that we can get from precision livestock farming, looking specifically at animal welfare, but also what are the environmental benefits that these technologies can give. I think the aim of today was really to bring together sort of various representatives throughout the entire food supply chain to try and make sure, are we really making the most of these precision livestock technologies in terms of the data flow up and down the food chain, but I think also are we really making sure we're conveying these benefits to the wider public, because I think one of my concerns is that although we're all very excited about the opportunities of using these technologies, people may not perceive them in that way, and they may just automatically assume that because we're using things like robots and we're using all of this sort of computer technology, that we're maybe making these intensive farms more intensive, whereas actually what it's more about doing is monitoring individual animals, and it's more about looking after really the individual needs of those animals, which is very important in terms of maintaining their welfare. So I'm hoping that we'll start talking more to each other as part of this. We're interested in setting up special interest groups. Now, whether we have a sort of broad one over all precision sort of livestock, or whether we look at individual sectors, maybe pigs, poultry, dairy, that's hopefully something that's going to come out of today's discussions. But it's really trying to get everyone within the sort of food supply chain talking together to making sure we really make the most out of all of this kit.
I've been trying to give an overview of precision livestock farming technologies, particularly in the dairy sector, mostly from an engineering point of view, and my emphasis is that we should be looking at creating a perfect environment for the cow, which is partly outside at grass, but also making sure the buildings are much better managed than they are now. That we should focus on nutrition as one of the key problems which dairy farmers have, making sure that the cow is getting the correct diet and doing that by monitoring her internally as well as externally. The other things I wanted to talk about were our ability to monitor things is increasingly efficient, but there are some sort of data problems, that we've got too much data and not enough of it's joined up. In summary, that's my main message, is that we can do better all round by using new technology.
The main messages that I communicated at today's conference were Sainsbury's overall commitment to increasing value within our supply chains, how we work in partnership with our farmers to do that, and the importance of really good quality measurements and data to enable us to manage our supply chain. I think precision livestock measurement has a role to play in Sainsbury's supply chain, in that it could enable us to better control consistency, quality and welfare throughout the supply chain. Also, the ability to measure enables us to manage, and that in itself is absolutely crucial. Sainsbury's customers are always looking for consistent quality. They want to get the same great quality every time they shop. Anything, be it new technology or new management systems, that enables us to ensure that consistent delivery of quality to shelf every time, has to be a good thing.
Well, really, I think the main point I wanted to make was that agricultural engineering is much more than those people who design, work with tractors, machinery, mechanisation. And I wanted to celebrate all the good work which is going on with the veterinary sciences, with sensor technology and such like, and how that can be used in an integrated way to provide the livestock farmer with the information they need to make decisions and to aid the management process. So that's why we were here today, and also hopefully to promote the Institution of Agricultural Engineers as the natural home for scientists, technologists, engineers, those involved with this agenda, to come together, to share, to exchange, to run events, to deal with knowledge transfer and such like around this vitally important agenda. Well, I hope they take away the imagination that there's an industry here where there's some truly exciting things going on, where there's some great opportunities, where there's a wonderful future using this technology in a new, novel, different way to improve not just our agricultural production systems, but to improve our animal welfare, the animal housing, to really integrate everything we do in a really positive and upbeat way to the benefit of the industry, to the benefit of humanity, to the benefit of people in terms of the food they eat. That's what it's about at the end of the day.
I was trying to give the veterinary perspective on precision livestock farming, and not necessarily all about the different solutions that are out there, but I was trying to point out some of the key points from my point of view. So things like measuring clinical parameters, physiological parameters, and the fact that some of the technology is very detailed, but then that has to be interpreted in a cleverer way so that we can then return that data back to the farmer, back to the veterinarian as soon as we can, so that it actually becomes meaningful. So we can have real-time measurement, but then we have to have real-time interpretation and analysis as well before it becomes valuable. I also tried to touch a little bit on some of the ways that several sources of information can be added together to give a much bigger and more powerful picture when we're trying to interpret something. So I talked a little bit about different mobility parameters that we could then all build those into one reporting structure so that we could then give information back. And I talked a little bit about breeding technologies, which is something I'm very interested in, but I think some of the new technologies coming along to allow us to breed more effectively, to actually genomically interrogate the animals we're breeding from, and even to genomically type the embryos that we're actually producing.